Thanks, everybody, and thanks for the invitation to talk a little bit about the resources, some of the other resources we have at ANTHC. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Alaska Area Specimen Bank. And again, my name is Tim Thomas. I'm Director of Clinical and Research Services at the Alaska Native Tribal Health Consortium. So specifically on the AASB, the AASB is located on the Alaska Native Health Campus in Anchorage. It's housed in the CDC Arctic Investigations Program, which is on the campus again. CDC has had an intimate sort of relationship with Indian Health Service and tribal health organizations for many years. And in fact, this building was funded through Indian Health Services. The Alaska Area Specimen Bank is co-managed by CDC and ANTHC and other tribal health organizations. And this is just a sort of a chart illustrating the different advisory groups, working groups, and oversight committee. Just to say there is, again, tribal and CDC partnership in the management of this specimen bank. What's in the specimen bank? 85 to 90% of the collection are from Alaska Native and American Indian people from across Alaska. Many of the specimens were obtained in the 1980s and 90s, particularly in a work that was done around hepatitis B and doing some statewide surveys to see, look at prevalence of hepatitis B. And that was tens of thousands of individuals were involved in that. Other specimens have been obtained from public health, sort of outbreak response investigations, health research, and specimens have been obtained through research studies in the past. What types of specimens? It's primarily serum. There are some bacterial isolates, nasopharyngeal, oropharyngeal swabs, and other. This is just a quick sort of tour of the facility. There are some, just on the right there is a table just illustrating the types of specimens that we have, serum, plasma, urine, cord blood, etc. You can see the breakdown in terms of aliquots, the number of specimens, and the number of people that those specimens were obtained from. So say for the serum, we have 84,000 individuals have contributed serum to a total of about 500,000 aliquots. So there are -70 freezers in the facility, storing a variety of different specimens. We then have a walk-in sort of Arctic entryway that's at -4 degrees, and then a walk-in freezer that's at -30 degrees, holding again serum, plasma, urine, whole blood, and bacterial DNA. All the specimens are appropriately, in cryogenic vials. There's been recently a move. A lot of those specimens were originally put in glass vials. So there's a process right now of moving many of those specimens into cryogenic vials. They're all identified and located and labeled and located in a particular layer and box and position, so they can be easily retrieved. If people are interested in accessing specimens, first thing to do is to contact the director of the Alaska Area Specimen Bank, and that's Brenna Simons-Petrusa, who's at CDC. And there's an email right there. So if people want to withdraw specimens, they do have to go through the IRB, get Alaska Area IRB approval, tribal approval, get their proposal reviewed by the specimen working group, make the appropriate release agreements and documentation of what happens to those specimens during the study and then at closure. There's also the option to store specimens there. Again, usually this is upon, a tribal and IRB approval, and then steps to take to sort of deposit those specimens in the specimen bank. It's always good to have conversations with Brenna, the director at CDC Arctic Investigations Program. A variety of publications that have come out of this. I think just highlight a couple. One is the work that Brian McMahon did, sort of illustrating the use of alpha-fetoprotein levels to monitor people with chronic hepatitis B to see whether they are at risk for hepatocellular carcinoma. And I also want to draw your attention to this article at the bottom here, just to indicate that there are, concerns that Alaska Native people have around what happens to those specimens. And so we need to be cognizant of that and respectful for what happens to those specimens, and get the appropriate approvals to use those specimens. So here's some contacts. I think people can have access to this presentation. Just a couple other things. One is just to highlight, there is another sort of archive that we do have, which is the Pathology Specimen Archive. There are about 600,000 paraffin embedded blocks that have been collected, and slides that have been collected since the 1960s. They've been used for various, to look at gastric cancer, colon cancer, breast, nasopharyngeal. We recently got funding from NIH through the CTR and some equipment funding through TThomasINBRE to renovate a space on campus. And so we're trying to bring all these specimens onto campus, then appropriately inventory them, link them to the specimen bank and medical records. If you have any interest in those specimens, contact me. And then a quick shout out we're hoping to host the next Alaska Native Health Research Conference, May or June of next year. This is the last conference we had in 2017 was held in Anchorage, but just put that on your radar screens and hopefully look out for some save the dates on that. I'll stop there. Thank you.